They say that memory is one of the first things to go. I don't know. Maybe eyesight first. I don't know. Hearing definitely. I don't know. There's a lot of different options. The older I get, the more I feel like I'm not optimal anymore. My brain gets a little fuzzy. I hurt my knee really bad doing my workout today. That's no good. I feel like my right kneecap is about to shoot off. That's probably bad, right? Right. And then I forgot. I ran around like crazy this morning. I had a semi flat in the car. Got to deal with that. Had to get some cash from the store, because I got to pay for a field trip that we're sending the kid on. And then, there was the whole, who filled out the permission slip? Did we do it online? We didn't do the physical one. I have the physical one in front of me, so I did it online. Turns out, my wife had already done it. So, it's been a crazy ass day. But what else happened? Tariff time. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm Trent for the title of the show. My most popular, this is strange. The most popular episode of this run of the show, the first run of the show, different. The 2.0 run of the show was called Tariff On, Tariff Off. I don't know why. I don't know why people were into this particular show, but it got just like a massive amount of listens. And I think it was because people wanted to know about the tariffs and how they worked. And I was like, they're illegal. Tariff is a tax. It's an import tax. And the only people who can raise taxes are Congress. And so what Trump did with his like blanket illegal taxes was unconstitutional. And he kept putting them on and taking them off and changing the amounts and putting them back on, taking them back off, kicking the can down the road, postponing them 30 days, postponing them 60 days, postponing them 90 days. No, they're in effect now. And let's not even talk about how he dealt with China or for that matter, Canada. Kept jerking around the Canadians. Well, it turns out that today, the Supreme Court of the United States finally released their ruling on a case that was brought initially by, I want to say it was Learning Technologies, LLC. Anyway, it's a company in Illinois that produces educational toys, electronic toys for children. Basically, they sued, saying that the tariffs, which Donald Trump put on all these goods coming from, I think it was specifically for them, they needed parts from China, were a tax on their business, and it was an illegal tax. And so they brought this lawsuit, and a whole bunch of others jumped on board. Because of course, as we found out today from the ruling, that Trump was basically behaving like a mad king and levying a tax on American importers. That was unconstitutional. It's not his job to tax anyone. It's not his job. There are moments for national security where you can stop certain imports, like the tariffs on Chinese steel, for example, are there because you don't want the Chinese to dump steel into our economy, basically devaluing the American steel industry to the point where American steel goes out of business, and then we're beholden to a foreign country for a manufacturing item, material that we desperately need. Can't live without it. Need steel. Need to be able to make it here. Can't be beholden on that one, So that's the kind of tariff. That's a natural, progression, protectionary tariff that we would use to protect our national security, our economic interests in the steel industry. That kind of tariff, that's actually illegal. There's actually a very specific way to levy that tariff, and you could do that. He's allowed to do that. He's allowed to do tariffs on specific items for specific reasons, as long as they fall within the realms of the law. This bullshit that he kept doing where I'm like, I'm going to put a 50% tariff on China. Anything coming from China. Anything at all coming from China. That is not legal. Just straight up unconstitutional. He was claiming that we were in a state of emergency. He was using an emergency power from a law that was passed in 1977, I think it was, in the 70s. I was born in the 70s, and now my knee hurts. Yeah, I mean, he was using this quote-unquote emergency power that he didn't have. Even in the emergency, the law that he was using, the word tariff never appears. He doesn't have the ability to levy new taxes in case of emergency. Wow, my knee really does hurt. I probably should have done this sitting down. Owie. Take some ibuprofen, I think. Maybe ice this bad boy. Anyway, Trump's tariffs, his blanket tariffs on this country for 15% and that country for 25%, and Canada, we're tariffing all your stuff for 50%. It was like, none of those are legal. None of those are constitutional. All of that is the Mad King grabbing more power for himself. The decision was 6-3, with 6 of the conservative justices joining the 3 of the conservative justices joining the 3 liberals to form a majority. Those 3 being Chief Justice John Roberts, Trump appointees Neil Gorsuch, and the handmaid lady, Amy Coney Barrett. And so they combine, and Thomas Alito and Kavanaugh were dissenting. Kavanaugh wrote the dissenting opinion, which Trump read at a press conference, basically in its entirety, because he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. I watched it. I don't usually watch Trump talk because it makes me dumber. Every second you watch him speak, you get dumber. Every time he speaks, he tells on himself. He tells on himself that A, he's an idiot. B, he's a criminal. He's so guilty all the time. He just projects. He has absolutely zero self-awareness. None. Like, he keeps saying that he's completely exonerated in the Epstein files. And it's like, no, dude, no, you really aren't. You really aren't. And you guys aren't done yet either. And yeah, anyway, the Epstein files are a whole thing. Everybody should have you go through a damn college class to figure out what's going on with that. It's hard to keep up with. This tariffs thing is crazy because he's been taxing people, and we don't even know where this money is going or how much it is. Like, this has been unconstitutional from the beginning. We have where's the money trail? Where's the actual facts and figures behind it? Where is that? And shouldn't we be privy to it? He claims all the time that there's like umpty bajillion dollars. He makes up words. I think he said he had $17 trillion, which is fucking insane. In tariff money. No, you don't. The experts say it may be as much as $175 billion. That's a lot of money to tax the American people without anyone say so. You just made up your mind you wanted to do that. So you taxed all these companies who passed along 95% of the cost of the tariffs to their customers. So we, the people of the United States, paid 95% of that $175 billion tax. And now it looks like the Trump regime, the Mad King, is going to have to refund that $175 billion. To who? To who? To who? To who? The companies, the importers. The people who actually wrote the check for the tax. Now, sure, they passed along the cost to us. Will they pass along the refund to us? I don't think so. It is just another in a long list of items I like to refer to as Trump fuckery. Another grift, another fleecing of the American public done by this regime in the name of rich people everywhere, because they don't care about any of us. We are sheep, maybe. I don't know. I don't even think they think of us as sheep. I think we're more like cockroaches to them. The billionaire class, the Epstein class, as Senator John Ossoff of Georgia has deemed them. It's the Epstein administration, and they represent the Epstein class. Woo! That's a sick burn, John. Seriously, sick. I didn't want to be sarcastic that time. What do we do? Well, there's nothing we can do, for starters. It's done. This is all done. All we can control is what we can control. You know, pay attention to where you spend your money. Look at the subscriptions that you have. This is a big push that Scott Galloway's doing. It's resist and unsubscribe. I think it's called something like that. Where you look at your subscriptions and you just start getting rid of them because you don't need them. And these are the people who are propping up Donald Trump, and you don't need to do that. I canceled my Spotify. I want to be honest. I loved Spotify. I loved my Spotify. Like, as far as the service goes, it gave me, I loved the interface. It was easy for me to work with. I loved the playlists. I liked its AI generation, and I don't like AI at all. I liked that I could use it easily, and it saved all of my shit, and it was a cool interface. It was a little expensive. And then they sent me an email saying they were going to upcharge me $2 more. And I said, no, you've gone too far. Too far. So I unsubscribed. The whole family unsubscribes. My wife, brokenhearted. She liked it too. Yeah. So I am just working with ads now. It is what it is. I have to rebuild all of my playlists in other places. It sucks. But it is what it is. Spotify is a shitty business, turns out. They paid Joe Rogan a whole bunch of money, which they shouldn't have done, for him to be such a prick. Anyway. The other things we can do, pay attention. There's another No Kings protest. I believe it's March. Oh my gosh, I already forgot the date. In March. I think it's March. I'll double check it and get back to you on that soon. Yeah, pay attention. We got to protest when we protest. You got to have your whistle on you. I don't have my whistle on me at the moment. I'm in my garage. Have your whistle on you. I bought some extras that I carry in my pocket. And if anybody asks me about my whistle, I'll tell them about it and offer them a free one. There you go. It is what it is. I'm happy to do it. Yeah. What can we do? Be ready. How can we be ready? Be organized. Be paying attention. Sign up for newsletters like Indivisible and Working Family Parties and the Bernie one. I forget the Bernie one. Sign up for the Bernie one. I get that every time, all the time too. And just pay attention. More than anything else, pay attention. Be an ally to those who need you, and let's make sure that we get ourselves registered to vote. And if you haven't already, now's a good time to get your hands on a real ID, just in case they do get the SAVE Act across the finish line. I don't think they will, but the SAVE Act requires proof of citizenship to register and vote. But that all costs money to get a real ID or a certified birth certificate or a passport. All of that costs money. Therefore, you're forcing people to buy something in order to vote. That's a poll tax. That's blatantly unconstitutional. So, okay. I don't think it'll pass the muster. I think that it'll get held up in court real quick. But that's if it even passes. Pass the House, I don't know that it's going to pass the Senate, even though there's apparently 50 votes for it. It's one of those things that will be filibustered, and then they're talking about, well, maybe we'll make them do a talking filibuster. I dare you motherfuckers to fuck with the filibuster. I dare you to fuck with the filibuster. I begged the Democrats when they were in charge to do away with the filibuster in some way, or to change it so that it's talking filibuster at least, so that we could actually force these idiots to work with us on stuff. They refuse to do it. Now the Republicans are going to do it. If the Republicans fuck with the filibuster, they are opening themselves up to absolute doom, because they ain't going to be in power forever. They ain't even going to be in power for long. And for those of you who are like, well, they're going to disenfranchise all these Democrats. Let me tell you something about Democrats this year. Democrats are about to crawl through broken glass to vote against everything that this regime is doing. Motivation, not a problem. Not a problem at all. And the SAVE Act, this is fun fact, SAVE Act requiring people to produce this information, it doesn't just affect Democrats. It affects Republicans too. And who won voters that made under 50 grand a year? The quote unquote low income voters? Donald Trump. By 2 points, but Donald Trump. Do you think they're going to be able to afford $175 for an expedited passport? No. Do you think they're going to be able to get in and get their real ID in time? But no. In fact, fun fact, early voting in the Texas primary has already started. And they're not the only ones. Voting has already started for primaries for 2026. And they want to install new voting rules after we've already started? Interesting. New voting rules that make it harder to vote. Interesting. Check your registration. Be up to date. And don't forget to vote. Only vote one time in the primary and then one time in the general, like a regular person. Don't vote multiple times. That's illegal too. It doesn't happen either. Anyway, these are the things that we can do. And you keep calling your senators, you keep calling your House of Representatives peeps, and you just keep telling them, vote against all this shit. This stuff that the regime is trying to push on us. It's not right. We deserve representation that actually takes care of us. A representation that actually has our best interests at heart. Donald Trump doesn't have our best interests at heart. This regime is built for the billionaires. They took $1 trillion out of our group monies, healthcare, supplemental nutritional, food stamps. They took medicine away from the poor and the disabled, and food from the poor and children, so that they could give $1 trillion in tax cuts to the billionaire class. I'm not even talking rich people. I'm talking mega rich. The stinky, disgusting rich. Yeah, those rich people. The Musks and the Zuckerbergs and the what's that dude's name? Bezos. Yeah. And this fake economy that's built on the AI bubble itself is teetering on the brink of absolute collapse, because it turns out that old Trent was absolutely right about AI. Go back and listen to my AI special. I was right. AI doesn't even fucking work. All it is a way to eliminate as many quality jobs as they can. It's a tool for them to use to screw over working people. AI sucks. Fuck these guys. And stop using AI for slop, people. Don't make pictures and cute little, look at this trailer if Lord of the Rings were made in the 80s. No. Stop doing that. Not okay. You want to do that shit? Learn to animate it. Be a person. Do it the right way. Annoying. I know. I'm an old man. But I sat there listening. Yesterday, I was listening to Peter Cetera. And he was a solo rock act in the 80s, but he rose to fame in the 70s, playing with this band called Chicago, which had one of the greatest horn lines ever. And I loved Chicago. I had a couple of Chicago albums, like vinyl, that my uncle had purchased and he realized he had extras of. So he gave me the extras. And I played because I like the art and I like the horns. And so I played those things on my old turntable all the time. And I fell in love with Chicago. Loved Chicago. But I was sitting there listening and I was like, man, this is good shit. And then I had to get in the car. I had to drive and I had the radio on. And I wasn't listening to my phone. I wasn't listening to a podcast. I was just listening to radio. And it was the best new music. And there was a song and I was just like, oh my God, sucks. And then the next song was just, it sucks. This is all bad. It's derivative and drivel. It's boring and uninspired and doesn't move you, you know? So I listened to new music for like 15 minutes and then I realized we're never going to have another Chicago. When my generation, when the Xers, actually I'm going to give it to the millennials, when the millennials pass on, we're not going to have anything good anymore. All the good creation will be gone. And all we'll be left with are YouTubers and TikTokers. Old man yells at clouds. Film at 11. Don't be that guy. Take care that you're raising kids. Like I'm raising kids and I really want them to truly be creators. If that's what's in their soul, then I want them to be creators. And what do they want to do? They want to be YouTube influencers, YouTubers. And I'm just like, no. Just no. If you can't do your job without the internet, come on, man. I'm trying. They're still kids. We just need to focus and remember what's at the heart of all this. It's people. What's at the heart of what I talk about all the time? People. You, me, them, us, it. I don't know what it is. The society. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how we knit together, how we talk to each other, how we communicate, how we build a better tomorrow. And the better tomorrow is built by all of us coming together, not by falling further apart. And that means leaning into the human part of it all. AI replaces humans. It's bad. It's bad to replace humans. Bad. We can't replace each other. We should be embracing each other, lifting each other up. And all the time, I like to remind everyone that it doesn't matter who you are, where you were born, what color your skin is, who you choose to love, who you choose to worship, how you choose to live your life. You're a human being. You are a human. We're all humans. We're all just peeps. We're all peeps and we're in this thing together. And it's crazy and it's over the top and we don't know what comes next and we're all scared. We're all scared of the things that we don't know. We're all scared of the things that we don't understand. But it sure does feel nice to sit down with someone else and just have a chat. Just talk about anything. Sports, movies, pop culture, even politics. And it's shitty to talk about because politics these days is toxic as fuck. But man, it feels good to not be alone. It feels good to be part of the group. It feels good to interact. And it should, because that's what we're meant to do. Be strong. Sometimes it's not going to be easy. But at the end of the day, it's always about us, the people. And when I talk about the Trump regime, it won't last forever. In fact, with any luck, we'll get a majority in the House and or the Senate this midterm, and we can really kind of Slow them down. Slow them down to a crawl. Start putting things back together. Basically by refusing to sign checks. Have the power of the purse. Use it. Nah, we're not giving you that money. Nope. Use it. Flex your muscle. Be strong. Be a check on this nonsense. When that happens, things will start to, well, not normalize, but be better. Because we'll feel like we're back in the game. Right now, it feels like we're just on the sidelines itching to get back into it. When you don't realize everything you do is you in the game. Everything from deciding where to spend your money or how to talk to your kids, whether or not you wear your whistle, know what I'm saying? Whether or not you share this podcast with somebody else. Those are your choices. That's what you could do. That's how you're staying in the game. You're not alone. None of us are. Man, it feels good to know that. Okay? It feels nice when the old Trumpster gets put in his place by anyone. And Supreme Court handed him a blow today. He can't just go around willy-nilly doing what he's been doing. So what's he going to do? Come up with new ways to willy-nilly do what he's been doing, which is just another sign that he doesn't respect any of us. He doesn't respect anyone else. He doesn't respect anyone else's power. He doesn't respect anyone else's position, even people that he put in those positions. And that's going to get old real damn quick. So keep the faith. Keep up the fight. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you for being with me on this journey. And I will be back to you before you know it, okay? I'm going to go ice this knee. And I'm going to be a good human while I do it. So let's all be good humans, okay? It's the least we can do. Until next time. Love you.